Considered by some to be the most versatile hero in Dota, today we're going to learn how to build and play Core Nature's Prophet. My name's Navetz, representing my esports team, the Sploush Troupe. Today, this video is brought to you on behalf of Gamers Class. Alright, we're going to first start by talking about the items, the spells, and the talents, and we'll do this by looking at Immortal Faith's guide. I think that this guide is really well done, and it's pretty much exactly what I would do with good variation. So let's go ahead and talk about it, starting with items. Purchase order. We're going to talk about mid Nature's Prophet today because that's the replay that I'm going to show you. However, if you are in the off lane or if you're in the safe lane, this is more what your starting item build is going to be. You're going to get a Fairy Fire, double tangos, and a Blightstone. Now, if you're mid, instead of getting these tangos and this Fairy Fire, what you're going to do is get a Fairy Fire, 2 Iron Branches. You're going to get pooled 2 tangos from your support, hopefully, and you'll probably get a circlet as well. Now, the early game, we'll look at how we are going to progress in this game. First item you're going to get is Gloves of Haste, so you can attack faster. Actually, quickly, let's talk about the Blightstone. Blightstone, we want to have it because it reduces armor by 2 for 8 seconds, so this is really good to help you last hit since you are attacking with your Treants as well. The armor reduction is also going to make you do more damage amongst your Treants, and when your Treants attack, it's going to make all 3 of you do more damage in the early phases. So overall, really high value item, and it can build into a Desolator if you go into that later on. However, it's just a really good starting item, and it's really great for harassment. Now, the Gloves of Haste is here first in the early game items because it is going to build into your power treads. However, you want to get your Gloves of Haste before your boots. You don't really need your boots right away. You want to focus on farming as quickly as possible, so 20 attack speed is what you're going to go for. The power treads, you will be going for power treads because you are going to be a damage dealing core. You're not going to be you're going to be a beast, like a glass cannon for a little while, and then we're going to solve the glass issue with that cannon. And finally, in your early items, you're usually going to want to build up a magic wand. If you're against a lot of spell damage, you'll want to get some raindrops. And okay, moving on to the core items. Now, this is going to be your typical core build. Orchid is your first item. Orchid has recently been reduced in cost, as almost everybody knows. It is a very fast timing item, 3,475 gold on a hero who can globally teleport. This item is such high value because you can set up kills everywhere around the map. And the other great thing is that you can get this item so quickly since Nature's Prophet's one of the best flash farmers in the game. He can farm as quickly as a Shadow Fiend, which we will see shortly. Next item after your Orchid is going to be your BKB. Then we're going to go, so BKB is basically, you want your BKB to have survivability against spells when you go deep inside of a battle. Like, you want to jump into a battle and you don't want to get stun locked. You want to be able to be hitting, you want to be able to cast your spells, you want to be able to contribute as much as possible. So BKB early is really good. Even though you'll end up using your BKB charges quickly, it's fine. You can get it later sometimes. Some people opt to do that depending on how the game's going, but this could be the reason you lose your game, not getting an early enough BKB, and then you end up dying a couple times and you lose your whole advantage. Nature's Prophet's really about a snowball, really about that snowball effect, where you get your items so quickly and then you farm like crazy, and every opportunity you see to teleport and kill someone, you try to take it. Afterwards, you're going to get the MKB. Now, there are like, MKB is just such a good item right now. It's picked up by almost everyone. It gives you by almost all core heroes. I mean, technically that's not true, but a lot of core heroes will build MKB. It's almost always good to buy. You can skip this and opt for other items depending on how the game is going or the other heroes that you're playing against, but this is also good against heroes if they have evasion, like if they have halberds or if they have radiances, or if they're like just naturally built in evasion like a phantom assassin. MKB is really good for those purposes. Now, we will move forward and build our next item, which is the Assault Cuirass. This is so good for pushing towers. Most people don't remember that it also reduces the armor of enemy units and structures by 5. So the aura will reduce the armor of structures and units by 5. So if when you're attacking a tower, it'll have 5 less armor. It will also grant you, it gives you an assault aura that grants you and every teammate around you 30 attack speed and 5 armor as well. This is great for a hero who can basically participate in every fight with global teleportation. Then finally, what you're going to do is buy yourself a Satanic, and this works really well in conjunction with your BKB. You're basically, if you take a little bit of damage and then, or you jump in a fight, you take a little bit of damage. If people go on you and you don't get stun locked for too long, you will go ahead, pop your BKB, hit your Satanic, and just heal up to full. If they have no stuns, you're even more set. Like, no, they can't hurt you if you have it. They can't kill you if you have a Satanic. So Satanic is really good in terms of a super or a very late game item, one of your last items, to just make sure that you can fight in the battle for a very, very long time. Now quickly, we're going to look at some situational items. The Solar Crest is a really nice item to pick up, especially if you have a physical damage based core that's kind of going off. So if you have like a Juggernaut or like a Troll Warlord or something like that, you can enable them really well with your Solar Crest. And it's also really good for ganking because you reduce the armor of enemies by 8 for a short period of time. I think it's 7 seconds. Yeah, so that's good. If you want to farm really like even faster, you can get the Mjolnir. However, I don't think it's necessary with Nature's Prophet. The Bloodthorn is a natural upgrade from the Orchid, so you will eventually be doing that. And then you can also get utility items if your team really needs them from the mid. Like, let's say you have an offlaner who is not building any utility, you can be the one to build it. You can also build a Silver Edge if you need the break. So if you're playing against a Spectre, Silver Edge is really good. Or if you're playing against a Bristleback or a Tide Hunter, it would be nice to have a Silver Edge. The Shadow Blade also helps you escape. You can go for a Force Staff into a Hurricane Pike if you need mobility. That's good. And then these 3 items are really nice pickups here. The Daedalus, if you're just if you're just crushing it and all you need to do is deal damage, they don't have stuns, go ahead and get yourself the Daedalus in conjunction with your Satanic. You're gonna kill. If you need disables, go for the Scythe of Ice. And if they have a ton of spells that you need to dispel, I have a whole video on the Nullifier, why it's so good. You can dispel Glimmer Cape, you can dispel Yules, you can dispel Wind Ranger's Windrun, you can dispel Necrophos's Ghost Shroud, you can dispel Pugna's Decrepify. So Nullifier is also a very good item, and it also provides you crazy stats. So those are our items, and here's some basic items to also send yourself. Don't be afraid to send yourselves items in lane if you need them, especially as a mid. Healing salves, raindrops, extra tangos, whatever you need. Now let's talk about the build. It's very, very standard. Nature's Prophet, you're going to go max out Nature's Call as soon as you can. Level 1, you're going to get Nature's Call. Level 2, you're going to get Teleport. When you get level 2 Teleport, this lets you go back to base and back to lane really fast without actually having to send yourself more regeneration. So this is a really nice ability on Nature's Prophet. It's kind of like the same mechanic as Kunkka being able to X marks himself and then TP back to base and show back up into a battle. You can kind of do this. Well, I mean, you can do the exact same thing. You just put your teleportation on cooldown. Now, then you're going to get Sprout at level 4 to try to get kills. This will be really good if you need to teleport around the map. And at level 6, you'll get Wrath of Nature. Wrath of Nature, the way it works is it does more damage per bounce. So you will, I'll talk about that in the game, but when you want a Wrath of Nature, you're going to Wrath of Nature on the opposite side of the minimap from the place you're teleporting to. So let's say you want to engage in a battle that's top, you're going to Wrath of Nature the creeps bottom. So all of these bounces will start bottom, and then they get stronger per bounce, and eventually the last few bounces will hit top, and then you'll teleport into that battle and try to finish people off. We'll talk about that during the game. Then you're going to finish off teleportation for levels 8, 9, and 11. Talents, let's talk about 8, 9, 11, and then Sprout from 13, 14, 16. You get Wrath of Natures every time you can. A very, very standard build. You're very rarely going to change this. Talents, let's talk about talents. Wrath of Nature base damage versus 20 damage. We are building for physical damage, so we're going to go with 20 damage. The Fortreon summon versus the 25 attack speed, we are going for the attack speed. Cooldown reduction versus armor. Now, most of the time you're going to take the cooldown reduction because it does also put your BKB, put your Orchid, put your Satanic, stuff like that. Any other actives that you get, puts them on 20% cooldown reduction. It lets you Wrath of Nature more often, which helps your lanes all push. But if you're dealing against very, very strong physical damage heroes and you're finding that you just don't have enough armor, even with the Assault Cuirass, you might want to consider getting this. However, almost all the time I would say 20% cooldown. And then level 25, you're going to remove your teleportation cooldown. Like you're everywhere, and you're everywhere around the map. You're farming like crazy at level 25. You're just a nuisance. You're poking their base, you're killing their creep waves, you're ganking anyone that's gankable. Like, you should be using the teleport as often as you can, just teleporting between creep camps, teleporting between waves, making sure you're safe while you're doing it. But you're a real nuisance once you hit level 25 on Nature's Prophet. And I think that pretty much concludes our items, skills, and talents. I'm gonna really quickly tell you guys about some hotkey bindings. If you do want to find a full guide on this, you can watch my micro video. However, what we're gonna show here is how you can control your treants, how you can set control groups, and things of that nature. So in my settings, I have my control group set to 1, 2, 3, and 4. I have select my hero as F1, select all controlled units. So this would be my treants and my hero as well as F2. And then in the advanced hotkey settings, select all other units. That's F3. So that will select all my treants if I have, let's say, 2 sets. So I'm going to refresh my spells, get another one. Okay, so now I can press F1, that's my hero. F2, that's just my that's my trees and my hero, my treants and my hero. F3, just my treants. So that's how you set that up. Now, if I want to separate my treants to have one come with my hero and some go somewhere else, I would do, let's give myself free spells. So I'll spawn a couple here. So I'm gonna go ahead and select. I'm gonna press Shift, grab these two treants. I'm gonna press Control 1, and that's gonna put these guys in my control group. And then I'm gonna press Control 2. That's gonna put these 2 guys in my control group. Now I press 1, I've got these guys selected. I press 2, I've got these guys selected. So you can use this to farm a creep camp with these guys, and then send these guys to a wave to push out the wave. And that's how you can control your treants, or that's how you can have multiple control groups going at the same time. And then if you want to do something like having your trees go from multiple places, what you want to do is use the Shift Q command. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab all my treants. I'm going to press Shift. I'm going to attack here to here. So I'm going to go from here to here. And this is going to set my treants to attack the first enemies that it finds in the areas from where it's going. So you can use this as a way to push out waves around corners and stuff like that, and not just have them stop at a creep wave. Hopefully that helps you guys a little bit with your micro. If you want more detailed, a more detailed explanation, you can check out my full micro guide. All right, it's game time, and we are going to be watching a mid Nature's Prophet. So first thing to talk about is the items that he's decided to go. Exactly what I said earlier, which is you get your Iron Branch, a Circlet, you're gonna get 2 Tangos pooled, and a Fairy Fire. Fairy Fire is a really good item in the mid lane. It's actually been picked up a lot in the safe lane and the off lane as well. Just so good for the burst health, the 85 health, the +2 damage. Looks really nice. He has the Blightstone, and he is getting ready to block his mid wave soon. So he's actually sent his treants top. That's something to point out here. He has basically spawned his treants at like the 46-second mark, or maybe a little bit earlier, and he sent them up top so that they can scout out this wave over here. He's not going to want to lose them. They're only up for another 2 seconds, and now they expire at the same time as the bounties expire, so he's fine. He's blocking his wave here with his treants, and he's gonna go over here to try to secure this bounty ruin. Unfortunately for him, Tusk walked over, took it from him, but that's okay, and he kind of messed up his block. So he's gonna have a bad block here against the Shadow Fiend. We'll see how he recovers from it. Now Shadow Fiend is going for the classic double mango strategy. He's just gonna use his shadow raises on the wave, and we'll see how this goes for him and how it goes for the Nature's Prophet in terms of last hits, and we'll see how Nature's Prophet plays it out. first thing to note is that he does not sacrifice or give up his Treants easily. There's a lot of Nature's Prophet players who will just not pay attention to what they're doing with their Treants. That is not what you want to be doing. You don't want to just give up your Treants for free. You should learn how to use your control groups and how to micro them. So that's definitely a big factor in why some lower ranked players lose their lane, is they just give up their Treants. Now, playing the lane, the way that Nature's Prophet is going to have to play this lane against Shadow Fiend is a little bit different than the way Nature's Prophet would play this lane against someone like Viper. So Shadow Fiend is the type of hero that's going to, in the early levels, he's going to be in lane. But once he gets to like level 5, Shadow Fiend's going to be coming to the wave, dropping a couple raises, and then going back into the jungle to farm the jungle, and then continuously doing that. Nature's Prophet's going to do something similar. Nature's Prophet is going to want to farm as many creep camps and waves as he possibly can. So we're watching right now, Nature's Prophet is up 9-3 in terms of last hits on the Shadow Fiend. Even though he's blown so many shadow raises already, he's got 2 points in shadow raise. The reason for that is because of the amount of last hit damage Nature's Prophet can push out with the attacks on the Treants and the hero at the same time. Since the hero and the Treant can attack, or since the hero and the Treants can attack at the exact same time, he can cue them to attack together. It means that he has more burst damage to last hit with, or more damage to last hit with. You add his damage, which is about 64, plus the 3 Treants that he has at this point, and it's going to be very hard for a Shadow Fiend with like 60 something damage to contest that. In addition, he's going to continue to try, or in addition to that, he's going to send his Treants to the camps before they die, or to the small camp before it dies. We just saw him do that, and then once he's available, or once this Shadow Fiend's not putting a ton of pressure on him, he's going to start farming this medium camp right here. So still doing really well, up 14-8 on this Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend's having a bad time, and he's getting forced back. You'll notice that he's sending his Treants forward to attack him, and anytime his Treants get low enough, he's also denying his Treants. And now he's right-clicking the Shadow Fiend. He's like, Shadow Fiend's trying to force him back, or trying to kind of scare Nature's Prophet back so he can get raises on him as he walks backwards, but that's not going to happen. Nature's Prophet knows that he's pretty strong right now. He's got 68 base damage, whereas Shadow Fiend only has 57 right now. He does have the Necro Mastery damage as well, but it's not going to be something crazy. Now he's sending forward his Treants to harass the Shadow Fiend some more, and Shadow Fiend really is getting completely like zoned out in the early levels. Now he'll be able to come back into this game fairly easily because he is a Shadow Fiend. Like I said, he'll implement the strategy of just nuking the waves and leaving. But if Nature's Prophet was playing against someone that had a high amount of kill potential against him, what Nature's Prophet would do is back off the wave while the hero's here and go farm this small camp, then come back and pick up whatever's left over here, especially at the 4-minute mark. So here we go. Nature's Prophet now is level 4. He's using his Treants to block the Shadow Fiend. This is a really good play. So he used Sprout, then he used his Treants. He moved them forward on this side of the Shadow Fiend, and he used them to block the Shadow Fiend so Shadow Fiend would not be able to walk away from that battle. Being able to micro your Treants, here we go. He's doing it again. So he's attacking with his hero. He's sprouted. Now he's moved his Treants forward, and he's getting a significantly good, or a really good block off. He's going to teleport onto this high ground. If Shadow Fiend didn't have the Fairy Fire, he would be dead right now. Like that's pretty much a guaranteed kill without that Fairy Fire. So really, really nicely played by Nature's Prophet, forcing Shadow Fiend to back up. He's over here. He's gonna bottle the Bounty Ruin, and he's gonna be able to kind of recover with that bottle, but still he's not in a great position. Now here we're going to see what I was talking about just a minute ago, and that's going to be the farming of the multiple camps and waves at the same time. Nature's Prophet has fallen behind a little bit in terms of last hits, but this is what Shadow Fiend does, right? He comes in, nukes the wave, leaves, and goes over here. So unfortunately for him, because Shadow Fiend's such a good last hitter, he has fallen behind a little bit, and he's given up one too many Treants to those shadow raises. In that case, he probably should have kept his Treants back a little bit, but overall not too bad. Now he has the gloves of haste, he has the boots of speed, and we're gonna see right now, this is what you want to do as Nature's Prophet, especially around level 6. He comes back to base. You saw him queue up the Wrath of Nature, and he was thinking about queue up the Wrath of Nature. He was thinking about ganking another lane, so he looked bottom or top. I didn't have it on his perspective, but he was thinking about ganking one of those lanes, decided that it wasn't good to do so, so he's not going to blow it yet. He sees a fight breaking out bottom, so then he does use his Wrath of Nature, hits the Phoenix, and Phoenix ends up going down to the Pangolier, which is pretty good. Now Shadow Fiend is waiting to nuke this wave again, or he's going to just try to maintain the wave. At this point, Nature's just going to grab what he can from the wave and go back to this medium camp soon. So you see, yeah, here we go. Now he's going to walk towards this medium camp with these Treants, and he's going to take this while his hero also farms the wave. So his Treants are going to attack here. He's going to farm both the wave and the camp at the same time. And this is how you get your net worth advantage on Nature's Prophet. He's got the infused raindrops as well. This is an item that I talk about this in my early game items video. You should be picking up raindrops, especially if you're like a newer player who doesn't pick them up often. Get in the habit of buying raindrops every game. Like if you're a newer player who dies a lot too, like in the early game, it'll probably save you like 1 or 2 deaths in the early game. So it is something you should get used to buying. Now we see Nature's doing or continuing the farming of the mid or the medium camp and the farming of the mid wave, and he is starting to get ahead in terms of last hits. Let's take a look at the net worth. Nature's Prophet is kind of crushing the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend at 2,300 net worth, Nature's Prophet at 3,300. So he's about 1,000 net worth ahead at the 8-minute mark in the game. Not even 8-minute mark in the game. And we see here Nature's Prophet paying attention to the battle, comes here, wants to attack the egg, decides to back up because it's going to be no good, has enough mana left to teleport out, drops the Sprout. One thing you need to know about Sprout is that it also gives you vision. It's a vision spell, so if you drop it on the high ground or if you drop it in the trees, you will gain vision of those trees or the high ground. So you can use this to give yourself and your team vision. Very, very important to know that. And this fight, it's pretty much over, so he's going to teleport. Now what he's not doing is he's not teleporting back to base just because he doesn't have full mana, because he doesn't have his teleportation available. He would have to walk out. Instead of doing that, he teleports back to the mid wave because that's really where he wants to be at this point. Drops the Sprout, pops his wand, gets another set of Treants out. Excuse me. Gets another set of Treants out, and he's going to continue putting pressure on this mid wave. Now if nobody shows up, he'll be able to take this mid wave very, very early, and this really sucks as a mid laner who's playing against the Nature's Prophet. If you leave the lane for a short period of time, your tower is just gone. And he is okay, while the fight's breaking out, you see when he gets caught by the Tusk and he's not able to go around the shards, instead of running, just continuing to run, he just starts attacking the Tusk because Tusk doesn't have enough to kill him. They don't have enough follow-up. But unfortunately for him, there is the Riki Maru, who is in this game having just the game of his life. What the heck is his KDA at this point? Riki is 4-0. Oh my lord. So Riki is so far ahead of everybody else in the game. However, Nature's is just crushing the Shadow Fiend. He is really far ahead of the Shadow Fiend, 2,800 to 3,500. So even though he's died once to the most farm player in the game, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Sometimes one of your lanes does really poorly, and the best you can do is try to deal with it, adjust, kill the hero, adapt, you know, don't tilt, keep your composure, don't give up, all those good things, you know. Very rarely those pieces of advice right there that are very rarely used by most players, especially in the immortal bracket. I can tell you that for sure. The don't give up part, oof, everyone would be giving up in immortal bracket. Anyways, Now we see Nature's Prophet. The first thing he did when he respawned was teleport towards the Ancients, because Nature's is good enough to farm, or strong enough to farm the Ancients, especially with level 4 Nature's Call. He could have been doing it for a long time now, and he's really trying to hit the Orchid timing. He needs approximately another like 1,300 gold or something. I'm not positive about that, but he is gonna farm his triangle, and he's gonna look around the map for an opportunity to teleport in and kill somebody. And if he does decide to teleport in and kill somebody, he will use Wrath of Nature's on the opposite side of the map. So he's paying attention to bottom. He sees that they're putting a lot of pressure there. He's not going to run bottom he's not going to go bottom himself, because he'll probably end up dying. There are some people who would just go bottom in this situation. It's not good. This is another thing I want to point out here. Look at how short of a distance he teleported from. He was here and he teleported to go here. That's to give himself an extra 2 or 3 creep kills, because if he would have walked from here to here, yeah, he would have his teleportation. He would still have his teleportation, but he would miss about 3 creep kills, which would slow down his Orchid timing. And getting a fast Orchid timing is what's most important. So he is valuing his Orchid timing right here over his teleportation, and he also has the built-in teleportation for himself, so he can use that as well to be around the map if he has to. He's paying attention bottom, used Wrath of Nature as well, because there is a fight breaking out bottom. This gives you bonus damage as well. Wrath of Nature gives you bonus damage as well for each unit it kills going around the map. And here he spawns his Treants, and he's just pushing damage towards the tower. He's not really worried about this creep wave, and he doesn't want to sit here for too long in case he's in a bad position. We're gonna put Dire Side Vision on, just because, no, not Dire. We're gonna put Radiant Side Vision on just in case I go free camera, because we want to know exactly what Nature's Prophet is seeing. And he is getting even closer to the Orchid. Now he does want to fly himself out another teleportation scroll, so that's something that he should be doing. However, he just hasn't done it yet. So you do want to have that teleportation scroll off of cooldown, and hopefully we get to see him use the self sprout play to save himself this game. However, I'm not sure if we will. You see right here, he's paying attention to the battle. He was going back towards the ancient camps. Instead of going to the ancient camps and farming, he stayed in the battle. Now he casts his Wrath of Nature. You see it come around, and they're going to be able to win this fight pretty decisively. The Vengeful Spirit even survives. Holy moly. But I don't know if they're going to be able to kill Riki. If they can kill Riki, this will be crazy. There goes Nature's, and Riki survives. Oh my gosh. So Riki's still top of the net worth by a lot, but you can see Nature starting to snowball as well. 5,700 net worth compared to the Shadow Fiend's 4,500, and Shadow Fiend, again, one of the best farmers in the game. Now off of this little win, they're gonna go straight for the tower. You notice that they're not worrying about the creep wave. They want to take this tower and get control of the map, get more control of the map, because this tower is really, really big. The mid tower is probably the most important safe lane tower, or most important tier 1 tower. It can dictate how aggressive you can be and where you can place wards, where you can gank. All kinds of things are dictated by the mid tier 1 tower. So if you can take it early, that's really, really good for your team. Now he does have the Orchid. He's got the Orchid, only has a magic stick. This is also something I talked about in my early game item video, is that you don't always want to go for a full wand right away, because sometimes you're not going to get the full charges. You're not going to have a hero that you'll be able to get full charges against, and it's more valuable to use that 250 gold towards a different item timing. For example, maybe your treads, maybe your Orchid, maybe a BKB, whatever it is. And then if you go back to base at some point in the mid game, you can just and you have a little bit of extra gold, you can pick up the full wand depending on how long you plan on keeping it. Now he's using Wrath of Nature's to push faster and to try to de-push the mid wave, which is pretty good. They might be able to take the mid tower, but without their heroes alive, they just lost the Venge, and Pango wasn't there. They won't be able to save the tower. However, they are going to look for a fight. There's the teleportation, and we get a silence out on the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend has a haste. This fight is going very, very poorly. They do manage to kill the Phoenix here. And the Shadow Fiend blow up ult. Does he have a Yule Scepter? Yes, he does. So Shadow Fiend only has a Yule Scepter. Shadow Fiend building a Yule Scepter is partly for that combo that you saw right there, going from the Yules into the Requiem, but also because he knows that Nature's Prophet is going to be building an Orchid right away. Now, if Nature's Prophet can get a BKB there, he can probably survive by teleporting out, but that's okay. We're looking at net worth again. Nature's Prophet starting to catch up to the Riki, who was just having a blow up game. So that's good news there. And we'll speed it up a little bit. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I have other Nature's Prophet videos that I will put in the description below, but that includes some tips and tricks that you can do with Nature's. But one is that you can cast Self Sprout on yourself to stop to stop the enemy from seeing you, and then you can teleport out after you sprout yourself. So that's a really good ability to use. And you cast Self Sprout by double clicking your Sprout hotkey. So if your Sprout hotkey is Q, you'd press QQ and it would cast the spell on yourself, which is really useful. And then after you press QQ, you would teleport back to base using your teleportation spell, or using your teleportation spell, or using your scroll. If you're trying to decide whether you should teleport with your spell or your scroll, it really depends. They both have a cast time of 3 seconds. So it really depends on who the heroes you are that you're playing against. If you're playing against heroes with silences, you probably want to use your town portal spell or your town portal item, because it can't get canceled by a silence. However, if you're playing, because it can't get canceled by a silence. So if you like, let's say you're playing against Death Prophet and Death Prophet sees you sprout yourself, she can just cast silence. She can just cast silence on top of yourself, or on top of you, and then you're forced to waste some time. Your sprout will expire, and then you'll be put in vision and forced to use your teleportation, or probably just die. So I guess the difference is whether you think you can afford to, whether the silence is there, and whether you think that they have enough stuns to cancel your TP. Because if they do have stuns and they cancel your TP, then you're just in a bad position where you've wasted an 80-second cooldown TP. So it's really most of the time you're going to want to use teleportation spell. However, some of the time you are going to want to use the TP scroll, especially if silences are here. Now we see Nature's Prophet TP bottom. This is a bit of a mistake. They were waiting here for the kill. Nature's was not aware that the heroes were set up there ready to gank, and he is dead. So that is rough. And the team's probably going to lose this fight, but I'm going to speed up to the point where Nature's Prophet's back in this game. Now, Nature's Prophet doesn't die there if he has a BKB, by the way. He will he might die, but it's far less likely that Nature's Prophet dies if he gets a BKB by that point. Now our Nature's is starting to fall behind a little bit. The Shadow Fiend is catching up, so he's going to go back to farming Ancients, and this is really big, the Ancient farming. Notice that he also used the Orchid on the creep there. The reason that Nature's does that is because of the active for soul burn. It doesn't just silence, but when your silence on the Orchid is over, it takes 30% of all the damage you did, and it applies it it applies it afterwards. So it'll take, let's say you did 100 damage and then your soul burn expires, the 5 seconds are up, it will do an additional 30 magic damage with the Orchid. So it's a really good way to nuke people down. And now we're watching Nature's go on the Riki Maru. He's trying to look for where he is. He is canceling his teleportation multiple times to try to find a good point in the battle to jump into, looking for the Riki, unable to catch him, and oof. Let's see what happens here. Gets the silence off, sprouts himself, and here he was going to TP away. So this is the self-sprout TP I was talking about. Let's see that one more time. He jumped into the battle, hoping to be able to get something done here. Stunned. Sees there's multiple heroes. They don't have a Quelling Blade to take down that tree, and he's able to get out. So that's exactly what I wanted to show earlier. I'm glad that it showed up in this game. Even though his team lost the battle, it's not as absolutely terrible as it could have been, because their mid player didn't die. Their highest net worth player is not gone, and now he's going bottom to defend this. After he goes bottom, he'll probably go back to the Ancients. We'll see how it turns out. he's not going to blow to just move around the map. He's not going to be using his teleportation scroll. 80-second cooldown versus a level 4 20-second cooldown basically is never going to blow that. And right now he's going to try to keep his hero as safe as possible until he can get the BKB. The BKB is going to be big for fighting, and then we'll see what he gets after. Some cases, in a lot of games, you would get the MKB next, but I think if I remember correctly, he's going to go for a Heaven's Halberd this game. And this is where Nature's Prophet is fantastic because it's one of the most versatile heroes in the game. You can play Nature's as a glass cannon, as we're seeing right now. You can play Nature's as a tank. You can play Nature's as a utility hero. You can play Nature's as a support. The hero has so much utility that you can pretty much give your team whatever they need. Like if your team really needs something, your hero can be the one to build it. Now as a mid laner, you're probably going to want to be the person doing the damage. You're going to want to be the one spitting it out. And now we see a fight going down while Nature's is farming those ancients. He sees the fight happening, looking for a teleportation opportunity. He's going to go on the Phoenix, so teleports in, wants to kill the Phoenix, has the BKB available, and he's in the background. They get 4 kills, and now they're gonna go Roche. So this is really big. So as a team, they're not gonna go try to push this tier 2 tower. This is a mistake that a lot of lower level players will make, is that they'll go right now and they'll push the tier 2 tower mid instead of going straight for Roche. You only have 30 seconds, so if they glyph one time, that kills a creep wave, and then your second creep wave shows up, and then you might not even get this tower before the enemy team has respawned. You put yourself in danger of dying. But getting Roche on, what that does is it gives you the opportunity to be all around the map. Now he's teleporting to the top lane right away. He's using his teleportation to be all around the map. Knows that Shadow Fiend is up here. He was pinging that out. He was thinking about going on the Shadow Fiend, but Shadow Fiend went into the trees to not give them vision of him and probably teleported out somewhere else. And yeah, we can see the Heaven's Halberd is queued up next. So Heaven's Halberd's good for physical damage heroes. I'm a little surprised to see it against Riki. I'm actually a little surprised not to see a Hurricane Pike, because 4 staffs are really good against Riki to get yourself out of Cloud. However, he does have the early BKB, so he can, if Riki just goes on him with the Cloud, he can BKB and walk out of it, or he can BKB and fight him through it. But either way, that's just I guess an item variation discussion, and after this game we will be looking at item variations. So now we see another opportunity to get a kill. He's canceling his or Nature's has canceled his TP multiple times, by the way. You don't have to complete your teleportation scroll if you start teleportation spell. If you start teleporting and you see that a fight's looking bad, you just press your stop button and it will stop your teleportation. Now he's going back to base because he wants to heal up, and he's going to re-enter the battle. So here he is re-entering the battle right behind the disruptor, gets the kill, and he's starting to really get ahead in net worth. 1200 net worth. Yeah, definitely top of the net worth right now. Weaver's catching up. Sand King can do things, but this is all about the snowball of Nature's Prophet. And who has the Aegis at the moment? Weaver has the Aegis. Nature's doesn't really need it, so this is actually also really cool. He gave the Aegis to Weaver, even though Weaver's a little bit behind him. It's better to give it to Weaver because Weaver can because Nature's already has the BKB. Since he went for the second item BKB, it makes Weaver the better candidate for the Aegis. Actually, Weaver also has the BKB. So okay, I'm talking out of my ass. I thought they would have given the Aegis to Nature's Prophet, but anyway, I guess it's not that big of a deal if it goes to your carrier or your mid laner. I thought it was going to be on Nature's. So that's a little surprising. I'll ask around and see. Maybe somebody else will know why. Okay, so you just saw him get glimpsed there. If he BKB'd, it would have canceled that glimpse, but I don't know if he even wanted to be in that battle. I think he wanted to BKB. I'm not sure if it was on cooldown, but in 6 seconds he can go back there. And once he gets his level 20 spell, he'll have 20% cooldown reduction, so it'll be every 16 seconds. And now he's going to try to catch this this Riki. However, Shadow Fiend, who bought back? Disruptor bought back. Shadow Fiend's there. He canceled his TP, and now they're going to look to see if they can get a kill here. Weaver has he died yet? Yeah, Weaver lost his Aegis already. All right, so here's the BKB, and here's the fight. There's the swap. Venge nicely saving him, and he's going to TP out with this BKB. They don't have any BKB piercing stuns. This guy doesn't have a basher. He's actually going for a Daedalus next, so he won't have a basher for a long time. He doesn't have to really worry about dying. He can BKB TP out pretty much for the rest of this game. Doesn't have to worry about dying. And the only thing he'll die to is a high amount of physical damage. So his next item after the Heaven's Halberd will most likely be the Assault Cuirass, because without the physical damage to kill the Nature's Prophet, he's probably not dying. And notice he's also very patient with his BKBs. He doesn't just blow them, although he could have used it in that fight bottom when Disruptor glimpsed him. Maybe he didn't notice himself getting glimpsed, or maybe he just wanted to be out of that battle. All right, there's another nice usage of Sprout. You can use it to block pathways there. So in case somebody was going to come through this area, he sprouted it just so he could walk towards the bounty rune and grab it. I know it seems like a little thing, but the little things really do add up, especially in the high levels, in the highest levels of gameplay. And yeah, he has the Assault Cuirass queued up right now, so we're gonna see how he plays this. He's gonna be all around the map, almost at level 20, has the 20 damage, has the 25 attack speed, and he's looking for opportunities. So while he pushes the bottom wave, he's paying attention to what's happening around the map. This isn't somewhere he needed to TP mid because there were 4 heroes going on that Shadow Fiend. He knew that they were going to get that kill, and if other heroes showed up, then he would look to go on the back line and probably start by killing the supports, maybe Disruptor first, maybe going on Riki. Now he's teleporting top, pushing out top lane, and he's going to really blow up in the amount of farm he has. At the same time that he's doing this, notice that his trees are bottom, pushing this bottom wave. So he sends these Treants all the way out to here. He probably attack moves it this way or shift Qs it. Over here, he's teleporting into the fight. Let's see, there's a fight going on top. Teleports here and just jumps right into that battle. Sees the Phoenix drop the egg, so he really goes deep into this fight. Pops his BKB for this as well, and he's actually put himself in a tough spot. Let's see if he survives. He's actually just going to TP out right in front of them. Is he going to be able to get out? Yes, he is. So with the last seconds of his BKB expiring, he just TPs out. They managed to get the Phoenix kill. Phoenix has to buy back. Disruptor is dead. This Riki's still massive, but they are starting to really come back against him. And I'll go back to watching Nature's Prophet, seeing what he's looking at now. Teleportation's off cooldown. He's going to go bottom instead of going back to that fight because the fight's over. And he's going to come over here and just continue to play. Okay, this is another cool thing, and I haven't talked about it yet. Like I said, I will link the Nature's Prophet, the other Nature's Prophet video that I have that talks about how you can set up kills with this hero. You don't always want to TP right in front of the hero or right in front of the location that you're going. He doesn't have BKB available, so he silences right away. He's gonna sprout him. Alties. Okay, there's Shadow Fiend's BKB. He's gonna fear. I'll get back to my point in 1 minute. Just want to see how he finishes this off. Okay, very cool here. So this is an interesting thing. So first off, what I was going to say is you don't always have to TP in front of a hero, because if you TP in front of them, they will see it happen. They'll see your sprout animation in front of them and they'll run away. So what you want to do is TP a lot of the times just in the tree line, like right here. If there, let's say hypothetically, if there was a hero here that you wanted to gank, you want to teleport in the tree line so they can't see you TP, and you might even want to wait for another hero to come set up a kill with you. Now here, watch what he does. Here he's going to run into this tree line, and instead of sprouting himself, he's going to sprout slightly outside of his tree line. The reason, or slightly outside of himself. The reason that he does this is because if Riki is here, and if Riki has a quelling blade, or if somebody's here who can cut down one tree, maybe they have who knows, tangos or something or whatever it is, this would put him in a rough position because they could cut the tree and attack him. But if he does this, they'll have to cut this tree and this tree to get to him. It would make it a lot more difficult. So sprouting outside when you're in the tree line makes it a lot harder for enemies to catch you. That's a really cool little play, something definitely to think about. And now we see the neutral items that he has. He has decided to go with the Vambrace instead of the Imp Claw. I like it. Vambrace adding 10 to attributes, 5 to other attributes. Very, very cool. And I'll go back on him to see where he's teleporting. He's gonna go top. He sells his wand. Interesting. He sells his wand, keeps the Dust of Appearance, and he's going to go ahead and buy the Hyperstone. So now he's really attacking fast. Soon he'll have the additional armor, which will really help against all of the physical damage that Riki's doing, especially throughout his BKB. Still has a 7-second BKB available, even though he got it so early on. So this is nice, and he's gonna hit these ancients up and then go between safe creep camps. He is using his Treant, or he is splitting between where his Treants go and where his hero goes. So he's actually sending his Treants bottom. Yeah, okay, good. He's sending his Treants mid, which is what I was hoping to see. Sending his Treants mid to push out this wave while his hero goes to farm camps. You don't always need to keep your hero and your Treants together. And even at the 30-second mark, he knows to stack this camp. So he stacks it. He's going to farm it again. And if he needs to, he can TP here or TP bottom to farm a little bit there. But this is the safer area of the map. Actually, one of the safest areas of the map. Notice that all of his teammates, if you look at the mini-map, are right here, and they were here. So they basically make sure that he can farm here safely and he can farm here safely. He's about 1,300 gold away from a completed Assault Cuirass, and that's such a big team fight item, especially on a hero like Nature's Prophet. It's going to make all of his teammates stronger in the fights, especially because he's usually TPing right in the middle of them, and it's also going to make all of the enemies weaker because it's got the aura. So we're going to see where he decides to go. He is teleporting back to base. Wonder why he did that. Oh, I think it was to pick up the Orb of Destruction. And now he's just sitting. He's looking for a kill. So we're going to watch his perspective. Looking for the opportunity. Casts Wrath of Nature. Uses the BKB so he doesn't get feared. The silence is off on the Phoenix. Phoenix does not go down. Manages to get the egg. And I don't know if they're going to be able to kill this egg in time. This is looking kind of bad. They do kill the egg. Now they kill the Shadow Fiend. And the last one alive is Rikimaru. Oh wait, no, Tusk is still here. So he's deciding to go on the Tusk.
More than 2 kills, but less than 4 kills.
And once his silence expires, I have a feeling he'll teleport onto the Tusk to set up the kill. He's canceling his teleportation multiple times just so he can make sure he gets the right area of the map to target him on. There's the silence, there's the kill, and now he has the AC. So no no Shadow Fiend for 59 seconds. He is up to 9, 13, 15. We'll take a look at the KDA here. The Riki is 18, 2, and 11, and despite having such a crazy game, he's having a really hard time dealing with Nature's. Nature's is pushing out the top wave, and now he's coming back mid. Really cool how he can go ahead and do that. Top of the net worth now. They're starting to dominate, and our who is this? Our Shadow Fiend is forced to buy back. They take a lane of racks, and now they're gonna back out. They know they don't want to overextend it. They managed to get a Rax, and now they're going to go straight to the Roche pit. If the enemy team comes and fights in the Roche pit, they might be able to do something, but nothing crazy. They might be able to do something, but if the enemy team loses this fight, they probably lose the game. And they just won a big fight here. They don't have any easy teleportations. They don't have the shrine. They don't have a tier 2 tower top. They don't have a tier 2 tower mid. So they're really unlikely to be able to come to that Roche. So they take it really quickly. And now we'll see what Nature's last item is going to be. Whether he decides to upgrade the Orchid into a Bloodthorn or maybe go into a Deso. No, he is going Daedalus. He's going straight damage, baby. Okay, cool. And he has a lot of attack speed, so going crazy damage is nice. He will probably swap out his boots. And here's the TP. Goes on the Phoenix again. I love it. Always killing the Phoenix because Phoenix doesn't have anything that can dispel the silence. That's another thing to pay attention to That's another important thing to pay attention to is whether or not the heroes that you're playing against have a way of dispelling silence. And ooh, he sees the Shadow Fiend over here. They're going to try to set up a kill. If they kill Shadow Fiend, they know he bought back. They know it's really dangerous. He's teleporting far behind. He's going to sprout. Oh, there he is. instead of sprouting, he used his trees to break down the trees, or his treants to break down the trees, nature's call to break down the trees, and now he's BKB'd. They're trying to take down the Shadow Fiend. He does have a sprout available. Shadow Fiend is dead, and that's going to be the end of this game. Essentially, we're going to speed it up until it's over because Shadow Fiend has no buyback. Nobody else is alive. Riki, even though he had a fantastic game, got let down by his Shadow Fiend big time, who did not get nearly enough farm. Managed to lose the mid lane to Nature's Prophet pretty hard. Fell back pretty far behind, and the Vengeful Spirit says, thanks Shadow Fiend for the win, but I would say thank you Nature's Prophet for playing well as well. And that is going to be this game. So we saw a lot of really good concepts. This is really cool that we got to see a variation in the item build. He went for the Heaven's Halberd instead of the MKB. Still really cool items. Next, what we're going to start talking about is the item variation and heroes to consider when you're playing with Nature's Prophet. All right, looking at different builds. This is one of my favorite things to do because I like seeing what other players do. Nature's Prophet, there's also a lot of different roles that Nature's Prophet can be played in, so we're going to see him in the off lane, in the mid lane, in lots of different lanes here, but we're just going to talk about the differences in builds because most of them are playing Nature's in the same style. Anyways, starting off, this is the one we just saw here, which was Treads, Orchid, BKB, Heaven's Halberd, AC, and then eventually it gets the Aegis. In this game, we see Nature's go for Treads, Orchid, Heaven's Halberd, BKB, and then Ethereal Blade. So you're seeing a lot of Heaven's Halberds in here. It's a good item to pick up. It really helps you against physical damage. And you notice that here he went for the Heaven's Halberd before the BKB, much later BKB timing. Another off-lane player going, they're all pretty much starting with the Blightstones, by the way, but another off-lane player going for the Orchid BKB Blink. So very, very cool difference right there. Here we see a off-lane player building a Vlad, so this is for his teammates. And he's building the Vlads definitely for his teammates, and then he's going for the AC next into Mjolnir, Monkey King Bar. He didn't even go for a BKB, crazy guy. This is a safe lane Nature's Prophet. You will see a lot of safe lane Natures, and he's playing against not a, well, actually no, there's a good amount of stuns there, but he's playing against a lineup that he's decided not to buy a BKB against. It's Orchid, MKB, Heaven's Halberd, Satanic, and Crystallis, and the Satanic is just so strong if you can continue to attack. So I'm kind of surprised that he didn't buy a BKB that game, but anyways, he seemed to stomp that game into a victory. This game we got an offlaner. I would like to see more mid laners, but that's okay. Let's see. Okay, here we go. We've got the Phase Boots, Orchid, Pipe. So as an offlaner, he built the utility item of a pipe and Heaven's Halberd. Then he goes for the Black King Bar and probably the Desolator to help end the game near the end. Wand, Boots, Orchid, BKB, Assault Cuirass, Scotty. I do like Scotty. Scotty's a really cool item. It's really good against heroes who have good regeneration, so like Morphlings or Lifestealer, stuff like that. Now we've got Power Treads, Orchid, BKB, AC, MKB, and this is more towards the standard build that we were talking about. This is a safe lane Natures again. You can see he's kind of dominating as well. This is IX Mike playing safe lane. I think that's a support Nature's Prophet. Yeah, IX Mike is a support player. Now, continuing to look, we'll see this one. I don't know if this is off lane or not, but he goes for mech into BK, or mech into Blade Mail, into Heaven's Halberd, Black King Bar, and Scythe of Vice. So that is basically to deal with the enemy team that he's against here and to support his team. This is just a Nature's Prophet doing what he has to do for his team to win. Like, that's it. He's just, since he's so versatile, he can basically build anything, and he's against a PA, so he goes for the mech, he goes for the blade mail, he can keep himself alive, he can keep his teammates alive, he gets the disables, the multiple disables for Phantom Assassin. I mean, that's just really nicely built. Orchid, BKB, AC, Satanic, and notice that all of these Orchid timings are like between 12 and 15 minutes. They're all fast timings, so if you can get your Orchid quick, that's really, really important. Another one here where we go Orchid, it doesn't even show the Orchid, we go Orchid, BKB, AC, Scythe of Vice, Lincolns, and MKB. I'm guessing there was a Legion. Yep, there's a Legion that he's playing against, so he bought a Lincolns. Another utility build right here from the safe lane. Interesting. Here we got the Orchid into BKB, Scythe, Shadowblade, and then our Bloodthorn. Shadowblade's interesting, and we'll take a look at some more before we end this. This one is going to be Orchid, Deso, BKB, Vlad's. Very cool. Orchid, 11-minute 30-second Orchid. Holy, this is another mid laner. Orchid, BKB, MKB, Satanic. Very, very cool. He decided to go for the Satanic before he went for the AC. Maybe he didn't even want an AC. Actually, yeah, looking at this team, you probably don't want an AC. If Sven's hitting you, you're probably dead, and everybody else you don't care that much about. Mask of Madness builds. Cool, cool. We see a Mask of Madness build on Nature's from time to time. In this one, we get the Bloodthorn, or the early Bloodthorn. This is 19-minute Bloodthorn with BKB, Scythe of Ice, offlaner. And then our last one that we'll see here is Orchid at 1322, BKB at 1825. Then he goes AC into Satanic, and then eventually a Daedalus and a Divine Rapier. He went nuts. Okay, very cool. So there's some of our build variations right there. You see a lot of different ways that you can play Nature's as a core physical damage attacking hero. You really do want to get a BKB in almost all of your games if you don't know how to play this hero well, and try to save your BKB charges for when you really need them. But you've seen a lot of different variations, so hopefully that gives you some good ideas. Finally, we're going to talk about some heroes that Nature's Prophet plays well with, and heroes that you want to be concerned about while playing Nature's Prophet. So heroes that can break down trees are kind of annoying for you because they can mess up your sprout. So if you think about a hero like Timbersaw is pretty good against Nature's Prophet. He can clear out his waves. He can clear out his sprout, and also just close distance on Nature's Prophet easily. Nature's Prophet also can't do a lot of damage to him, especially if you're laning against him for some reason. The Treants really help get stacks of reactive armor for the Timbersaw. So that's our Timbersaw. That's our consideration for Timbersaw. For everybody else, all the other strength heroes, you're kind of concerned about the ones that can stun you within your sprout. So a hero like Kunkka, he can stun you with his Torrent. Sand King can stun you with his Burrow Strike. It's called Burrow Strike, right? Yeah. He can stun you with his Burrow Strike. Pudge can hook you out. The Axe can call you, but he probably can't call you inside the trees. I'm not sure if he can or not. I'll have to test that at some point. Chaos Knight, he can close distance on you. He can stun you, but you're not too worried about him. And then other than that, Night Stalker. Night Stalker can be a real nuisance. Night Stalker can fly over your trees, especially when he has his ulti, and he can silence you, which stops your teleportation. And our Magnus here, he can skewer through your tree. Wait, what's it called? It's called skewer, right? Yeah, he can skewer through your trees. So that is a pretty big deal. So that's kind of the strength heroes. Let's talk about the agility based heroes. Heroes that can jump on you are kind of annoying. So your anti-mages, your Slarks, who will probably build a Shadowblade / Silver Edge, your anti-mage, your Slark, your Phantom Assassin, your Void, who can obviously time walk in Chrono. Those kind of heroes are pretty annoying for you to deal with. Even like Phantom Lancer, they're kind of hard to play against. And Riki, actually, Riki's another one who's pretty annoying. You usually have to go for a 4-staff or a very early BKB against Riki, as we saw. Heroes that you can't do a lot of damage to: Terrorblade. High armor heroes like Terrorblade, you're not going to do a lot of damage to. Templar Assassin's going to feed on your trees. All these things are just things to consider. Nature's is so versatile, though. There's really nobody you don't want to pick Nature's into. You're not like, oh my god, this hero's on the map. Don't pick Nature's Prophet. Intelligence-based heroes, especially with this build, you are looking to pick all of these heroes off. So you're probably going to force their item builds. The only ones you're going to worry about are heroes who have spells like Windrun or Ghost Shroud or Decrepify. So those are the heroes that you can't really hit. The other heroes you're going to worry about are heroes with multiple disables or disables that can keep you down for a really long time. Now, that's why you're going to need to play with teammates. So if you want to go in on If you want to go in on 2 heroes, you're going to need to be able to silence. So you're going to need your early Orchid, and you're going to also need another hero with you. So you go in on like a Shadow Shaman and let's say a Juggernaut, you're going to want to be able to kill this Shadow Shaman first so he can't disable you for a long period of time. That's just kind of like a play style consideration. Now, heroes that you're good at playing with, oh, by the way, if you're playing against these guys like the Necro, the Windrunner, or the Pugna, that's a really good game to buy the Nullifier. And if there's supports that you really got to kill who are a huge nuisance that have escape items like Glimmer or Yules, Nullifier is really good against them too. But moving on, heroes that you're really good with is other heroes who have global spells, other heroes who have the ability to close distance. So I'm thinking like Storm Spirits, Void Spirits. Zeus is really good. You want to play with Spectres. I mean, Spectre, Zeus, and Natures is a classic lineup, right? You use Zeus's ulti, you use Spectre's ulti, and you use Wrath of Nature, and everyone's at like 30% less health right away to begin a battle, and then you just jump in there and you do a ton of damage. You can also play around other heroes, the same type of heroes that can close distance on you and are trouble for you are good heroes for you to play with, because those heroes can close distance and cause trouble for other people while you teleport in globally. And basically the way you want to play Natures is by just kind of sitting back in the jungle, farm the camp, or farm easy camps like ancients and large camps and stuff like that, and look for places to teleport and kill people in. Spirit Breaker is one of the heroes that you are a little concerned about. He is a hero that makes you force yourself not to show in lane, because if you show in lane against a Spirit Breaker, he's probably gonna charge you down. It's not like the worst matchup in the world, it's just you have to change your play style if you're playing against this hero. Mid heroes that you might be playing against, so we saw him playing against a Shadow Fiend, and the style was that he was able to out deny him and outlast hit him. However, if you fall behind, or if you are in a lane against somebody who can dominate you, like a Viper for example, you're just gonna go to the camp, you're gonna go to your small camp early or your medium camp, you're gonna farm those, and then you're gonna, when the wave gets pushed to your tower, that's when you're gonna show up to get the last hits and not let Viper just take your tower. You're gonna get as many last hits as you can while farming the jungle as fast as you can. So those are some of the hero considerations. Yeah, Nature's Prophet, so versatile though. You can play the hero in any lane, and you can really play it with almost any lineup. Thank you very much everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video, the Nature's Prophet guide. It's one of the easiest heroes to play and one of the easiest heroes to gain a lot of MMR on, especially if you are lower in the brackets. You can just learn how to snowball and get 30 after 30 after 30. So let me know how playing the hero goes. I hope you win all of your games unless you're playing against me. Good luck, have fun. Until next time guys, one love.